Greetings, Redheads. Thank you for joining me in another episode of your favorite show, the one, the only Reds View. Of course, I am your gracious host, and I go by the name of J Red. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in right now. If you have not already, make sure that you hit the like button. That's the first thing. Also, if you're a hater and you can't stand my content, but you're still watching, I would greatly appreciate if you participate. Hit the thumbs down. The dislike button. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, which is going across your screen right now, which is youtube.com/redsview. Again, it is going across your screen for the whole entire broadcast. You can't forget to do that. And of course, last but not least, show your support. Make sure that you share this video. Make sure that you share this live so we can get it to as many people as possible and we can get into that algorithm. That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And shout out to all my new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. It's plenty of content, plenty of videos, material for you to listen to and utilize and digest. It's a whole bunch of content. So welcome to the channel again. I'm glad to have you. Thank you, everybody who's been supporting the show, commenting, leaving your comments, leaving your thoughts, your opinions. If you're disgruntled or if you disagree, it is all good. We like that. We like to keep the show going. We like to keep the show moving. And of course, we have a lot to talk about taking place tonight. So this broadcast, we're going to dibble and dab in the hip hop stuff per usual. But what's critical right now is the hottest story that's out, arguably. All right. So Carmelo Anthony, not the NBA player, Carmelo Anthony, the teenager who did the stabbing of Austin Metcalf. I keep messing his last name up. I'm sorry. But anyway, so hot off the press, in case you've been hiding under a rock, Carmelo Anthony is free. He is free. And there is a Mayo meltdown that is all on my timeline on Twitter. Oh, yes, Carmelo Anthony is free. He got bond. His bond got reduced. And boy, oh boy, the racism that we're seeing, there is a big Mayo meltdown all over Twitter, all over Instagram. Boy, oh boy, they don't know what to do with themselves. They do not know what to do with themselves. And when we're talking about they, who do you think we're talking about? We're talking about those angry, suspected white supremacists, and racists. So we're going to take some time tonight to just look at what's been going on and what's been taking place. So for those who don't know, and we still to this day, I haven't got the full details, the full facts straight all the way. But from my understanding, Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony was a black teen. He is a black teen that did a stabbing of Austin Metcalf. Now, when they were at a track meet, it was raining outside, and Austin approached Carmelo because Carmelo tried to take cover because you don't want to be on the rain. So Carmelo went into a tent that wasn't his tent. He went into a tent of the other team, from my understanding, right? So Austin and his brother approached him. They told him to get out. They assaulted him, physically assaulted him, and all that other stuff. And then Carmelo gave a warning. The boy approached him still, tried to assault him again. Carmelo poked him in the chest and ran. I think he hit his heart, and then the boy died. So with that, there was a lot of people who felt like of course, it was unfortunate that Austin lost his life, but it was murder. It was murder, but it was self-defense. It was self-defense. And boy, the black community has been pouring support, throwing our dollars, making sure that this young man has justice served because he was protecting himself. But let's look at, for the sake of discussion, let's just look at what has been going on. So it says teen suspect free on bond after allegedly stabbing Texas track star Austin Metcalf to death. Now, he had a $1 million bond. Of those who watched the show last week, he had a $1 million bond, but now it's been reduced to $250,000. And this is footage of him walking out of the courtroom. Let me see if it's gonna play a commercial because I can't stand when it does that. Yeah, of course it's commercial. That's why I have it on mute. But yeah, let's wait till this thing goes away. But yeah, so he had a $1 million bond, and now it got switched to $250,000. So a lot of people are upset about that. The suspected white supremacists, those are the main people who are upset about that. And trying to hurry up and let this commercial play. I can't stand when this happens. These news sites always do that. But this is footage actually of his attorney, his legal team, and that right there is Carmelo Anthony walking out. You know, he's looking justified. He's looking like, okay, I'm finally free. Now let's read some of the details on what took place. Now that was a reporter that went to him and said, why do you think this is self-defense? And from my understanding, he didn't say anything. He just kept walking, which is great because he's going to have his day in court. So it says after a significant bond reduction Monday morning, the 17-year-old accused of stabbing Frisco, Texas track star Austin Metcalf to death has been released from jail. Carmelo Anthony, he's 17. He faces first-degree murder charges in Metcalf's death. His bond was dropped from $1 million to $250,000. His bond conditions include house arrest and an ankle monitor, and he will only be able to leave his home with the judge's permission. Okay, so a lot of people are very upset about that. And what's very, very interesting about this, right, is the judge who reduced his bond actually happens to be a black woman. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a black woman. So let me show you who this black woman is. There you go right here. So this is her. So the suspected white supremacists, like they've been angry all day. So they found the judge, okay? And they said this evil judge deserves to spend the rest of her life in prison for what she did today. And her name actually, what is her name? Angela Tucker. Yeah, Angela Tucker. So, yeah, so they showed a picture of Angela Tucker. They've been digging her up. I didn't know who this was at first because I've been seeing it all on my timeline. But yeah, we see that it's Angela Tucker. Shout out to this sister. And they're mad. They're saying that this is an evil judge and she deserves to spend the rest of her life in prison for what she did today. And all she did today was grant him bond and give justice. Well, no, I ain't even gonna say justice. A fair act, a fair trial. So we've been seeing a whole bunch of narratives and a whole bunch of upset pink people. That's right. The white supremacists, they are very upset. Man, they've been going in today. They don't know what to do. Let's look at some of the comments that these races have just been going in. Look at this. So shout out to J Mal Green. J Mal Green is an activist out of Chicago, and he's been sharing some of the racist stuff that's been going on Twitter. So right here, I am yes, you are no, says black privilege. So we have black privilege now. Okay, they're trying to flip the narrative on us and say we got black privilege. So what Jamal said, or Jamal, he said, "Come on, guys, let's be serious. George Zimmerman, Kyle Rittenhouse all got off, and they are true premeditated murders. Yet we're mad that a black teenager gets a bond and house arrest when he has no record and claiming self-defense. Stop it. Dylan Roof got Burger King." Exactly. So this tweet right here says black people are so evil, everybody knows it. And then they said the N-words will always be N-words first before anything. This is why a concept of black conservative makes no sense. They all need to go back to Africa. There is no place for blacks in Western nations. Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd when we built this Western nation that you're talking about? But anyway, let's keep on going. Before I do that, hold on, y'all. I gotta fix something. Boom. All right, we got that. All right, so yeah, so they're upset. They're saying that we're in words. They said this one says white people built this country. We bought you. We transported you. We clothed you and fed you. We gave you purpose on this land. You were chattel until we freed you. Saying blacks built this country is like saying dogs or horses built this country. Wow. Dogs or horses. Okay. So they've been going in on. I'm not even gonna show you the racist tweets that I've been seeing all day. I ain't even gonna go through and read them all. But to my upset white people, my fellow white citizens of America, do you see how it feels? Do you see how it feels to be on the other side of the fence? See, the thing is, you try to flip the narrative and make it be what you want it to be when it doesn't benefit you. See, you want to look at the sides of the law and only use the law when it benefits you. The truth is this: these racist white people, they don't believe in the law. They don't believe in justice. They don't believe anything, because I told you in my last video, last live, when I was talking about this last week, I told you and I asked the question, and it's been making its rounds on social media. The main thing that I say is, what if the roles were reversed? If Austin had did the stabbing and accidentally, because this was an accident, even though he stabbed him, it was an accident. He didn't mean to murder him. He did mean to harm him, but this was an accidental murder. Okay. He stabbed him, but he didn't intentionally like stay with him and just keep stabbing him like that. But what if the roles were reversed? Would, and I'm going to ask this question 1,000 times, would the white media be saying that Austin is a murderer? Would they say that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time? Why was he in that tent? Why would this be going on? Like, if the roles were reversed, how do you think it would have went about? I'm gonna tell you how it would have went about. The same thing that happened with George Zimmerman, Kyle Rittenhouse, Dylan Roof. Okay, we were pissed the whole time when George Zimmerman walked away free, when Kyle Rittenhouse walked away free, and they actually got acquitted of their charges. We were livid about Dylan Roof. The police drove him to get Burger King, and he had a manifesto and everything. But when this black kid who has no criminal record was in a tent to take cover because of rain, didn't want to get wet, they tried to Jim Crow this boy, tell him to get up, and he had to defend himself. Now, the only thing that I see that is worth the argument that's going to be in court is, why did he have a knife? Okay, it is a stand your ground law in Texas. Texas is stand your ground. But why did he have it on school property? That's the only thing they could get him for, as far as that goes. But there's been a lot of people talking about why did he have that? I've seen it's been people who've been trying to create scenarios and say, did he go over to that tent with the intention? Did he go with the intention of trying to murder somebody? Why would he do that if it was raining outside and he was that was a track meet? He was approached, but y'all be trying to create these narratives and use the law when you want to use the law and be on the other side of history. You try to rewrite the narrative, repaint the picture. No. Okay. Yes, it's a black judge that granted him bond and reduced his bond from $1 million, which was ridiculous anyway, to $250,000. This happens all the time in the white community. Okay. And we have to sit back and either protest or just sit back on our hands and just being like, I hope justice is served. And how y'all have a white judge that'll help the Dylan Roofs and help the George Zimmermans and everything like that. You see how it feels? Do you see how it feels, white folks? Do you see how it feels to be on the other side of the fence? To see when you have a judge that's the same race group that has an understanding of the person that's being charged. And a lot of y'all feel like it's a slap on the wrist. I call it fair. I call it being fair, right? But you've been seeing people talk about, oh my God, this is terrible. This is black privilege. I've even seen the pictures of Austin Metcalf. They're talking about some white lives matter. You see, I've been seeing a whole bunch of people either being racist or they're trying to flip the narrative that black people use, that's rightfully so. They try to use our words against us. White lives matter. When in reality, we came up with Black Lives Matter, and it was an organization that went to do some other stuff. I don't co-sign Black Lives Matter, but we're saying Black Lives Matter. There was a reason for that, because the people who kept taking these black lives ended up getting released, and it was justified. oh, Trayvon Martin had an attitude and he shouldn't have been walking around in that neighborhood. Don't that sound like Jim Crow? You know what I'm saying? Like Dylan Roof. Like he went into a church and shot up innocent, older, elderly black people. But the police, who were white, took him by Burger King on the way to the jailhouse. So my thing is, it's beating a dead horse to show how unfair this is. But it's just funny. I've been laughing at these white tears. I ain't gonna lie. It's been funny just to see the reversed oppression and everybody talking about, oh, he's a victim. Y'all trying to make him be the victim and he murdered somebody. Now, look, I'll say this. Should he have stabbed the boy? I'm not co-signing him stabbing him. All right. But I am on the side of the law to protect yourself. And if somebody approaches me and I give a verbal warning to leave me alone, why were you messing with me in the first place? Because you don't own that school, you don't own that stadium, you don't own that track team. Who are you to come up to me? Now it'd be different. It'd be different if a security guard or a police officer came and told somebody to move and then they threatened the police officer. That's completely different. They are authoritative figures. The security, they're supposed to keep people safe, and police are supposed to keep the community safe. So if Austin would have went against authority and pulled out a knife or threatened them without even pulling out a knife, then I could understand the argument. But another child who's approaching them, because or I'll just say a minor approaching them talking about you need to leave, you don't own it. It'd be different if what's his name? Carmelo went into Austin's house on Austin's property or whatever the case may be. And then he threatened them. That's that. But we're talking about them being at a track meet. So yeah, all the races are up in shambles right now. You should read some of the hurtful things that they're saying about black people. It's like, y'all don't belong here. Even though we created this country of America did not exist before foundational black Americans built this country. And we were already here. They try to paint this narrative that we came on slave ships. First of all, when you look back at the whole slave ship narrative, that is not scientifically possible, that you brought tens of millions of people over here in the Atlantic slave trade. Everybody came on boats. Everybody, you boarded thousands of people on boats, and then we all came over here and just started working. That's cap. A lot of us were already here. We are the Native Americans of this country, and then we got interbreeded and mixed up. Now, a percentage of us, did get dropped off in the islands, the Caribbean, Jamaica, and everybody, and we got dropped off here. But we're stopping this. I hope y'all know this is a new movement going on. This is brand spanking new. There's a delineation movement that went on with us as foundational black Americans, and this is not the 1950s, the 1960s anymore. We're going to get justice. And you're not going to play both sides of the fence. You're not going to make the law benefit you and your race group. But when it comes to us, that ain't going to happen. Because what's the use of a law then? Because then the law becomes the law is for white people and not for black folks. Because come on, man. The white people, the racists, the white supremacists, they know that if this shoe was on the other foot and the black child got killed, they would say, oh, that's self-defense. That's self-defense. Why did that black Negro child feel the need to go over? Who does he think he is? He doesn't own that property. Why did he tell him to get up and move? Why couldn't he got an adult? All this other stuff. So they would say stuff like he deserved to die for that. The white boy was protecting himself. Well, it's a new day. And the thing is, it is important to have somebody of your race group when it comes to the jury, because that's how you know there's a possibility that it will be fair. And the other question is, why hasn't footage been released of this? Why hasn't it? A lot of people are speculating that the reason the footage has not been released is because it will be in Carmelo Anthony's favor. A lot of people feel that it will be in Carmelo Anthony's favor. But yeah, I've been enjoying this Mayo meltdown. These Mayo people are losing it because they're not used to the law benefiting black folks, but not benefiting them. And you can't paint the narrative that it's black privilege. What black privilege do we have? Because the first thing they'll bring up affirmative action. Other race groups took that over. Minorities took it over. We do not, as foundational Black Americans, have anything that we are privileged from. We are oppressed. How can oppressed people have privilege? That don't even make sense. Now, there's such thing as white privilege. You already know. If I rob a store and a white person robs a store, we go to trial, and it's separate cases. More than likely, I'm going to get more time than that white person. And it's because white people have a system in place, which is called white supremacy. And this is the thing, man. I'm preaching to the choir right now because they know this. It's just they know they get us riled up. You know what I'm saying? They know that they can try to flip the narrative and the media can try to flip the narrative and it be on their side, but they are not used to us rallying together. This is the first time in recent memory that I could think about where $250,000 was raised. I don't know what the GoFundMe is at right now. They try to get that shut down. But you had this money that's being raised to protect this Black child. Okay, this Black minor who was defending himself. Black people got on code. We put in our money and we're using our resources to make sure that he's straight. That's the type of energy we're on all 2025. And from here on out, that's how we protect each other. Because like the white supremacists, when it comes to them, you remember Darren Wilson, who killed Mike Brown, had over $1 million raised to help him out with his legal fees. George Zimmerman had money raised. Kyle Rittenhouse had money raised. Dylan Roof had money raised. So they can do that, but when we do it, it's a problem. Oh, y'all are supporting a murderer. When somebody like Kyle Rittenhouse walked away free, are you serious? And the thing is, a lot of people were not trying to make this a race thing. It is, period. It is. We live in America. Racism ain't going nowhere. We cannot coexist together without racism. Now, in a perfect world, I would love for that to happen, where nobody discriminates against you. They're not discriminated against you because of your skin color, your skin tone, where you come from, where you originated from, whatever the case may be, your race group, your ethnic group. But guess what? That's not the reality. Now, we coexist as far as living in America, but the racial tension is always here. But boy, oh boy, these white folks are upset. Y'all let me know in the comments, whoever is watching right now, let me know in the comments what you think about this situation, because I've been seeing some black folks try to say, well, if you look at it, I mean, he was in the wrong. What? And I'm like, if we had that same energy, because I'm for justice as well, right? But I'm looking at the energy. I'm trying to keep the same energy that they have for each other, because they don't ask questions. They can know that they're wrong, but then support each other. But with us, clearly this boy was defending himself. Now, whether you agree that he should have stabbed him or not, a lot of people called him a coward and everything. Whether you believe that or not, what took place that led to this happening? What took place that led to this happening? That's the key word, or the key thing that you should pay attention to. What led to this? A boy was sitting in a tent. He was approached. They physically assaulted him and told him to move. He warned them, gave him a verbal warning, and the boy proceeded and ended up getting poked, got stabbed, and then bled to death. That's what happened. Now, when you're saying, why did he have to die? Let me ask you this. What if Austin would have minded his own damn business? What if he would have, if there was an issue with that boy being in that tent, what if Austin would have went and got an authoritative figure, maybe an adult, to say to move if it was that big of an issue? Why did he have to put hands on Carmelo? Why did he have to physically assault Carmelo? Because allegedly, and I'm just saying allegedly, they said that Austin was a bully. I don't know how true it is, but they said that Austin was a bully. You can't go around putting your hands on people. You can't do that. If I'm going down and I see a person and I just start picking with them and poking them and everything like that, and they say, look, man, stop. If you do something else, something bad's going to happen to you. And then I poke them again, and then they shoot me, they stab me. They don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not sure if those two knew each other, but if he had been bullying him before, you give a verbal warning to let somebody know. Where in America do you give somebody a verbal warning? Then you try to, what people have been trying to do is justify, or not even justify, that's the wrong word. What people have been trying to do is say, why did he have to resort to that? How come it couldn't have been a fair fight, a fist fight? For one, I think Carmelo was only like 130, 140 pounds. And from my understanding, Austin Metcalf, that boy is like, he was over 6 feet, over 200 pounds, him and his twin brother, right? So if you're about to get bullied, you don't know if that 250 pound, 6 foot dude could really hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in a fight, let me say this. When you're in a fight, period, the intention is to protect yourself and then cause harm so you're not harmed. You're physically assaulting somebody in hopes that they get injured. You want to win the fight. You win the fight when nobody gets into a fight. And then let me see if I can word this correctly. You don't get into a fight with not the intention of hurting somebody. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if it's your brother, your sister, your cousin, your friend, or something like that. But if you get into a fist fight with somebody that you don't know like that, or somebody that is starting a fight with you, you don't know what that person is capable of. Don't you know when people get physically assaulted, they could get brain damage? If you get hit the wrong way, you could die. Your fist can be a weapon. It's people who are trained fighters who cannot legally fight you or they'll go to jail. Period. They are a trained fighter. Like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson just can't go around fist fighting people like that. Now, if he's protecting himself, that's one thing. But, you know, you got martial artists and people who know pressure points and different things like that. And they could really physically assault you, and you can end up dying from it. So what I'm saying is that when you get bullied or get picked on, beat up, you don't know what's going to happen. So that's why he felt the need to pull out that knife and do what he did. Okay. And what we're not going to do is try to use the law to protect somebody else's race group, your own race group, and not let the law benefit everybody else. See, if this was fair all the way across, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now, but I know it's not. And I know it's racial undertones. It's racial lining within this, and we're not going for it. We're not going for it. And I believe he'll get off. I don't believe he'll do any jail time. Like I said, the only thing I see him doing is getting in trouble for having a weapon on campus. Well, it wasn't even on campus, but school property, school ground. That's the only thing I think he'll get in trouble for. But as far as the murder, I don't think it's not first degree murder. It wasn't premeditated. If I went to the tent and said, and I had my knife out, or I went into the tent and I threatened people like, hey, anybody do something to me up here, I'm just letting you know. If you do something to me, something bad's going to happen to you. That means I went in there with the intention of doing something. But if I go in, minding my business on my phone, somebody come, hey, man, you need to get up. I'm like, get up? What you mean? Man, get up. I'm like, man, I ain't going nowhere. Then you physically assault me, and I'm like, hey, man, stop. And you hit me again. I say, hey, man, look, if you do it again, something bad's going to happen to you. And then they run up and do it again. That's not first degree murder. And I would understand that more if he poked him and kept poking him and stayed on him like that. Nah, he poked him and ran away. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are, if you're in a fight with somebody and you happen to use a weapon, you're using that weapon to get clear, just so you don't get physically harmed or nothing happens to you. And in the report, it said that he was asking the policeman, is Austin going to be okay? Because he didn't intentionally mean to kill him. You know, now he did ended up murdering him, but his thing was just being safe. So that's that. Y'all let me know in the comments what you feel about that. But I've yeah, like white folks, let me just say, man, like y'all can't use the law and when it only benefits you. We're supposed to all have equal protection. Excuse me. We're all supposed to have equal protection under the law if we're U.S. citizens. So that's that when it comes to that. But y'all let me know in the comments what you think about the Carmelo Anthony situation. These Mayo people are having a serious meltdown about it. And ain't it funny how the tables turn? Ain't it funny how the tables turn? But anyway, we talked about that. Y'all ready to talk about some music stuff? Y'all ready to talk about some music stuff? Let me know who's in the comment section. Shout out to y'all for who's watching tonight on ResView. Let's move on. Now, of course, we do our usual. We talk about our Drakes, our Kendrick Lamars every week, right? So Drake was just on popular streamer Aiden Ross's podcast, or stream live, his live stream, whatever you want to call that. And Drake had something to say about Kendrick Lamar. Now let's go to what was said. Hold on, y'all, give me a second. All right, so this is Drake and Aiden Ross. And Drake instantly knew the entire chat was going to spam Kendrick Lamar when Aiden Ross asked him to get in the ring to box someone. So fair use, by the way. I'm just reporting this for the news. Shout out to Aiden Ross. Go visit his platform. This is fair use, by the way. Fair use. All right, here we go.
Would you ever get in there?
No.
How much? What's the bag to get you in there?
What's the bag?
Yeah.
Who do you want? Oh, I don't even ask.
Eddie, we.
So if you say, he said, who do you want? Right? Who do you want to box? Who do you want me to box? He already knew it was Kendrick, and he knew he set himself up for that. So let's go back. Let's look at that again.
Who do you want? Oh, I don't even ask.
Eddie, we.
Who do you want me to fight?
Oh, I know who I want you to fight.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't do that. If we're fighting, we'll fight at Hino's gym or something like behind closed garage doors.
Yeah, you don't gotta really.
All right, so he said behind closed doors. So y'all let me know. This is just figuratively speaking. If there was a fight between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, who do you think would win? If there's a physical fight, whether it's a celebrity boxing event or something that's behind closed doors, who do you think would win in a boxing match or a fight? Because when Drake said it would have to be behind closed doors, why would he say that? Is it because he's really trying to squabble up with Kendrick Lamar? He really wants to put hands on him? I mean, I would. Somebody called me a PDF file, and made a song, and it's the biggest song in hip hop history. Somebody made a song about me being a PDF file. I would be very upset, and I would want to put hands on him. But who do y'all think? Who do you think would win between Drake and Kendrick Lamar? Now, of course, in a rap battle, I knew Kendrick Lamar would win. Drake has some size on Kendrick Lamar. I don't know who can fight, who can't fight. But if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would have to go with Kung Fu Kenny. And I know you're going to say, oh, you're a Kendrick Glazer and you're all on Kendrick's. No. I'm just thinking of the logistics of the situation. When I say that, I'm not talking about the physicality of it. Kendrick is from Compton. Drake is from Toronto. Now, I'm not saying Toronto people can't fight, but what I'm saying is Kendrick grew up in an environment, in a hood, to where you have to know how to fight. You're around a rough environment, and I'm not saying Kendrick was a street dude, but I'm quite sure Kendrick probably knows some tricks or two about fighting. With Drake, I don't know, man. He's a soft, he gives me a soft dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a soft guy. Like he don't seem like, now he could box, he could know how to box and everything like that. But I mean, if they got into a train, like if they went to training and stuff like that, and they had a boxing match, of course, Drake is bigger, significantly bigger than Kendrick Lamar. But if you're talking about a street fight, I think Kendrick might know a thing or two about fighting growing up from Compton. So I have to go regional on this. I'm going to go with Compton just to be on the safe side. And look, I've never seen Kendrick fight before. I've never seen Drake fight before. The first thing people are going to say, Kendrick is short and all this other stuff, right? Being short don't matter. I've seen the shortest dudes knock out some of the biggest guys. And a street fight is way different than just a regular fight anyway. But as much, and now this is the other thing, as much hatred as Kendrick has for Drake, right? Like he said, I hate the way you talk, I hate the way you walk, all this stuff, and made those vicious diss records. Because Drake didn't seem like he was really mad at Kendrick when he was making his diss records. You know what I'm saying? When he made Family Matters and he made push-ups, it seemed like he was doing it more as a sport just to get at Kendrick. But Kendrick was way more passionate. From the Like That verse to the Euphoria diss track to 616 in LA to Not Like Us and then Meet the Grams. That was really the most grueling diss track that came out of that whole ordeal. But I would say Kendrick, man. Kendrick came from Compton, grew up in the hood. Even though he ain't a street dude, he grew up in the hood, good kid in the mad city. And plus, Kendrick has more hatred towards Drake. So with him saying that he will fight him behind closed doors, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. But How much? This is my next question. How much would you pay to see a celebrity? I'm about to say death match. How much money would you put up to see a celebrity boxing match between Drake and Kendrick Lamar? How much would you put up? At this point, man, I think I put up like $100 to see that. I will put up $100 to see that. Now that's figuratively speaking, because truthfully, none of these rappers, anytime they get into it, they always say, we can do this in the ring, we can take boxing, these rappers are not going to box each other. Ain't a bag enough on that table, because if one of these rappers ends up winning over the other, I think, wasn't it one rapper, or Willie D? Willie D, did he box? I think Willie D and another rapper boxed each other. I can't think of who it is. Was it Grand Pooba or somebody? But I know Willie D boxed someone. But Drake and Kendrick both are millionaires. They're mega rich. They ain't finna be fighting each other. But it was funny to hear Drake talk about that. And he talked about other stuff as well. But y'all can let me know in the comments who you got your money on. Like I said, I go with Kendrick because all the hatred he got in his heart towards Drake, I think that would carry into a physical aspect of it. And Kendrick might do some stuff. I don't know. So he might do some voodoo on Drake. So, and when you have something against somebody, see, I don't think Drake ever really had something against Kendrick Lamar. That's why one of the reasons he lost the battle, because he wasn't as intensified. He was just like, oh, he trying to come at me. Let me show him who's king. Let me show him who runs stuff. Let me show him who's boss. And then ended up getting his ass beat. So, that's that. But anyway, let me know in the comments what y'all think about that. Now, Drake also revealed that he's working on a new album. Now, we already knew this. This was making headlines, and he said he's working on a new album now, and it slaps. Yeah, I'm working on this new album, and it slaps. I even heard it was a rumor that said something about it's going to be called Iceman. I don't know how true that is, but let me ask you the question. In 2025, are you looking for another Drake album? Are you looking forward to another Drake album, ladies and gentlemen? I saw some people saying, excuse me, why can't he just sit down? Why can't Drake just sit down, take a break? People have been saying that since last year, that Drake needs to take a break and all that, right? Now, why I have those same, and I share those same sentiments, what I will say is that it's a gift and a curse of that. Say if Drake did take a break and did not put out an album, people would keep saying Kendrick Lamar made Drake go into hiding. Drake needs to revitalize himself, get himself together. But if Drake keeps it going, that lets his fans know, like, hey, I'm still in the game. I'm still dominant. I'm still this and that and all the other stuff, right? But I'll say this, man. I'm Draked out. I've been Draked out. And I'm one of the ones who wish that he did take a break. But it's not just because of Kendrick Lamar. I was wanting him to take a break around the For All the Dogs time. Because I'm just like, bro, now you just pumping out shit that just sticks. Like, you're throwing shit at the wall and just seeing what sticks. You know what I'm saying? So with this Drake album, the only thing that I'm looking forward to is just to hear what he's talking about with Kendrick. That's it. Because Drake, I think that and I keep saying this all the time, Drake has reached his peak like 5-6 years ago. No, it was before that. What, like 2018? So like 6-7 years ago, to be honest. He's already reached his peak. The reason Kendrick has been on this generational run right now is because Kendrick he had big years. Let me see. Damn was his biggest year. And that was what, 2017, right? But Kendrick has never had a year where he's had the most hits out of any rapper, sold the most records out of any rapper, and is going to have the highest grossing tour of any rapper, won more Grammys than any rapper. This is Kendrick's first time doing all that at once. Now, he's had numerous successful albums, numerous Grammy Awards, had a headlining tour where, thank you for that like, by the way, had a headlining tour where, he had the highest grossing male solo hip hop tour. They like to give it to Drake as far as he has the biggest hip hop tour with This All a Blur, but he had 21 Savage and J. Cole and everybody join him. But Kendrick has never had a year to where everything is about him. Everything. Drake has had that. A couple of times. Shout out to Damian Green. You say, isn't it funny how when we get fair treatment, they hate it, and when we get mistreated, crickets. Racism ain't dead or hot. It's in our faces every single day. Exactly, Damian. Exactly. That's what I was talking about earlier, for sure. That you 110% right, for sure. But just back to this Drake thing. Yeah, like, so what I'm saying is Drake has reached his peak. And see, what his fans think is that he can make all this go away by being dominant again, by putting out an album, having like 4 or 5 hit records from that album, and it's just he's back on the top again. Drake has not done, even before Kendrick. Y'all think about this. Drake has not really been dominant. He's been on a run, but he hasn't been dominant since like what, 2018? Because 2020 he started just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. The Tootsie Slide, and he hooked up with 21 Savage, but and that album was successful. But when you look at Certified Lover Boy, I can't even say that no more. I'm gonna just say CLB. When you look at CLB, I can't even think of the songs that came from that album besides Way Too Sexy. And that didn't really last that long. What notable records from that album, or how many hits that came from the album? You don't really know. And then when you look at For All the Dogs, the only thing I think of is the Sexy Red song. You know what I'm saying? And he's just been coasting. So he's been on the recline for a little bit. I mean, he's been sitting in the recliner seat for a little bit. So the Drake stands are just over here like, man, he's gonna come back and be dominant. No, what Kendrick is doing right now, I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna keep it a buck. What Kendrick is doing right now with this GNX, Drake can't do. Drake can't do. It's over with. It's over with. He already had that. Now, that's not saying that Drake's career is over. That's not saying that Drake can't make a hit record or two. I'm not saying that at all. Not saying that Drake ain't gonna have a big first week album sales. Big first week album sales, rather. Not saying he's not going to have a successful album. Not saying that at all. He has a successful joint album out right now with some Sexy Songs for You and Party Next Door. But what I'm saying is that the hip hop community isn't as invested in Drake like his fans are, like we used to be. Because I know with that album he's going to put out, he's not going to give me a full hip hop album. He's not going to be rapping on every track. All he's going to be doing is try to make some slaps for the club, try to recreate the Nokia magic, try to top the charts, and then talk about the battle, the betrayal, going at everybody. That's all he's going to do. Now, how he could flip that up for me, like I said before, if he gives me a 15-track rap album where he's talking about the battle, talking about his life, doing whatever, that's cool. But for him to say it's a slap, that means, oh, you just trying to make hits again, which I understand, you're a hit maker. But what the hip hop community, the core hip hop community, what we want from Drake, for him to be able to get his balls back, we want rap, a rap album. His fans will, and if he wants to do it just for his fans, hey man, be my guest. But it's not going to be as successful as GNX, because GNX is a whole aura right now. It's an era. It's not just about the sales. It's not just about the hits. It's just the overall impact that it's having. Drake can't do that. Drake has too many writers to do that. So anyway, let me keep going. And I got this question too. Let me ask y'all this. I've just seen this and I'm like, he just didn't have all that hair in the Nokia video. How did Drake get his braids back so fast? Anybody else wondering that? On that Aiden Ross, let me go back to that real quick. Let me see. On this Aiden Ross thing, did I delete it? Oh, yeah, I ain't finna pull it back up again. But he got a wave cap on with some braids, and I'm like, how did Drake get his braids back so fast? How did he get his braids back so fast? Anybody else wondering that? Because in the Nokia video, he unless he picked his hair out, and I know it's weird. Like this right here. Y'all see this? Y'all see that? That ain't enough for no long braids like that. Does the man have extensions in his head? I just want to know, does he have extensions in his head? Please let me know. Because I'm like, how did he get his braids back that fast? He just had his hair cut off. So anyway, I thought that was strange. But anyway, let's talk about this right here. I forgot about this. So the more Kendrick Lamar false narratives. So what are we talking about with that from the OV hoes, J Red? What are we talking about? So every week, I feel like every 3 days, 4 days, but really every week for the sake of conversation. every week we have what we call false narratives from the OV hoes. This week, the false narrative is that Kendrick Lamar is barely selling out his tour. There was a report that came out a couple of weeks ago saying that Kendrick Lamar has 90% sold his tickets for the stadium tour, the Grand National Tour that him and SZA are going on, right? But there's one venue, there's one place where he's not selling as much as in other cities. And that place is Houston, Texas. So what the OV hoes have been doing, they've been going around sharing this picture of all the blue and empty seats that haven't been bought yet. And it's only 9 days away. And oh my God, what they're not showing is none of the California shows. They're not showing the Toronto shows. They're not showing any of the Atlanta, because Atlanta's damn near sold out. And they also don't understand how ticket sales work for stadiums. Okay. And then I saw this thing where it said, like, it was a Seat Geek or somebody said there's 60% off SZA and Kendrick tickets, whatever, which is a reseller site. So the OV hoes, I don't understand the obsession of going and searching for ticket sales at venues and a show and a tour that you're not even going to participate in. Like Drake, or if it's an artist, and I ain't gonna say Drake because I like Drake, but if it's an artist that I don't like, I don't spend time going to see how many tickets that they sold each time. Every day looking, oh, is anybody here? And I'm not going to be laser focused on an area that they're not selling as many tickets in, because it's not like he's not selling any tickets there. It's just he didn't sell out. For those who thinking that Kendrick Lamar is supposed to sell out a stadium, that don't happen all the time. Beyonce don't even sell out stadiums. That's why they have multiple shows there. A stadium is way larger of a capacity than an arena. And to get people to come to a stadium, that means you're going to have to do more than just rapping. That's why Kendrick has SZA. But the other narrative is that, oh, Kendrick needs SZA to do it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he needs SZA. And SZA would need Kendrick. But they're trying to flip the narrative and act like SZA is the main star and bigger than Kendrick. That's why he has her on everything. It's so ridiculous. But the OV hoes, let me tell you something. No matter how much you hate Kendrick, no matter how much you don't like the fact that he won the battle, nothing will change. Kendrick defeated Drake. Kendrick is more successful than Drake in 2024 and 2025. Nothing can change that. It don't matter if Kendrick did have to cancel any one of his shows, which I know you're hoping for. He still won. He still won the battle. He's still dominating Drake on the charts. Kendrick has 5 month, or was it 5? Let me see. No, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, a 5-month-year-old album. Kendrick has a 5-month-year-old album outselling an album that just came out a couple of months ago, back in February. Kendrick has more hits on the Hot 100 than Drake, and he's selling more records with GNX than Drake. No matter what you say, every day is bots, is this, is that. Kendrick still won the battle, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing Drake can do about it. Drake decided to tap out, throw the white flag, and here we are in 2025. So no matter what narratives you create, Kendrick still won the battle. No matter what narratives you create, Kendrick is still outselling Drake. No matter what narratives you create, Kendrick Lamar has more hits than Drake. Nothing will change about that in this current moment. And I'm sorry. Stop wasting your time giving attention to somebody that you dislike, because you giving that energy and it just juices them up the whole time. Juices them up the whole time. Okay, just got that confirmation. But anyway, let's move on. So this is the next question that I have for the redheads out here. I was talking to my homeboy the other day, and I really want to know. It's like, ever since this battle happened and J. Cole apologized to Kendrick Lamar, where has the fall off went? The fall off is J. Cole's allegedly last album, and we have no traces of it. A lot of people felt like it was going to drop during Dreamville Fest, which was the weekend before last. Nothing happened, and I thought that he was gearing up to release it. Excuse me. in December. But Kendrick stomped the mud hole in that because he put out GNX. And you don't want to run the risk if you're trying to, you're a part of the big three, which I don't feel like he is anymore. But if you're a part of that big three, you don't want to get outshined by the other person. That's why you space your albums out. So where does this leave J. Cole? J. Cole has just been doing blogs and he's been putting out songs. But the fall off, when is that album happening? It's 2025. And I asked people last year, when did they think it was going to come out? Nobody knows. I want to know what happens with this album. When will it come into fruition? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments when you think J. Cole is going to drop the fall off. Because if Drake is talking about he's dropping an album this year and stuff like that, see what was supposed to happen? And I say this all the time. J. Cole linked up with Drake, got his weight up, did all these features, and I think he was supposed to drop the fall off at the end of 2024. Yeah, the end because he got off the tour with Drake. He was supposed to do it at the end of 2024, but the whole battle, or it could have been before that. I was guessing it was going to be the fall, but Kendrick did what he did, and it was Kendrick's year, so he had to move back. And I think that J. Cole was trying to still do it, but then Kendrick dropped GNX, and then that's over with. And now with Kendrick doing this tour and Luther's success and all this other stuff, where does this leave J. Cole? A lot of us don't know. So anyway, let me move on and let's talk about the game. So the game actually went off on Kanye West. Oh yes, it was a big explosion, and I'm going to share my screen to show y'all what happened. All right, so and shout out to everybody who's tuning in to me, by the way. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. So it says the game explodes on Kanye West after he cuts ties with him over perceived betrayal. So during his latest stream of unfiltered and often inflammatory posts on X this past weekend, Ye unexpectedly took aim at the game, one of the few artists who has still publicly supported him throughout the various controversies. So this is what Kanye said right here. He said, "Why Game, who I gave 2 Maybachs to, is showing love to Top 5 who calls threatening to kill me. Well, I guess I'm not going to be executive producing that album anymore." Wow. So the game quickly hit back on his Instagram saying, "F you and your Maybachs, little nigga. I'll be back in LA in a week. Come and get them yourself. I ain't never asked your weird ass for nothing. And when you gave me the cars, I said you ain't have to, and I was good, but you insisted. Then you hit me with the you ain't never have to worry about nothing in your life. I owe you for being the only ninja out of everybody. Got my number, but won't call like a man and address a situation you asked me to fix. Pussy, nobody on earth weirder than these industry niggas." Okay. All right. He then revealed Kanye had actually asked him to reach out to the Top 5 himself. He said, "So Ninja, you asked me, did I know Top 5? I said, yeah. You said he was threatening you, and I asked you if I wanted you, if I asked you if you wanted me to reach out to him. If you want me to reach out, I guess that's what it was. You again said yeah. So I hit Top 5 and tell him to let it go. Out of respect for me, he agreed. I text you to tell you it was done, and you changed your number." Okay. So what I have to say is, oh my, how the tables have turned. Do y'all remember a couple years ago? It was about 3-4 years ago, actually, I want to say. The game was on Drink Champs. And he said that Kanye has did more for him in his career than Dr. Dre ever has. Y'all remember he said that when he was on Drink Champs? Oh, he was talking Cash Money shit. He was saying that Kanye did more for his career than Dr. Dre ever did. Because, the game was still salty over there, Dr. Dre snubbing him for not performing at the Super Bowl. And he was all on Kanye's nuts. He was working with Kanye, and Kanye was doing all the controversial stuff. And Kanye did a couple of songs off of the Drillmatic album. Y'all remember all that stuff? And it was ridiculous because Dr. Dre gave you your career. If it wasn't for Dr. Dre, you wouldn't be here, Game. Now, Game, you were hustling, but Dr. Dre broke you into the stratosphere and made you be the great rapper that you are, or helped you be on the status that you are right now. So it was disrespectful how you said Kanye did more. And I'm like, what is he talking about? But all that dick riding Kanye, all that Dr. Dre ain't do nothing for me like Kanye did. Now look how the tables turn now. Now Kanye, who's been going at everybody, and you've been supporting his BS, now the tables have turned, and now you're against Kanye because he didn't called you out. Oh yeah, it's just funny how the tables turn like that. That's why it was corny for Game to be on the type of time that he was. It was corny, and it's funny how the tables turn with that. So that's all I got to say about that. Now the last thing I want to cover, let me see, let me pull this up. It says that Young Thug's attorney actually joins Diddy's legal team. Let me show y'all this right here. So shout out to Double XL Magazine. Young Thug's attorney Brian Steele has joined Diddy's legal team for the music exec's upcoming sex crimes and racketeering cases. On Tuesday, which is today, Steele filed paperwork in New York Southern District Court notifying the judge that he will be joining Puff's counsel. The move comes nearly 2 months after one of Diddy's former co-counsel, Anthony Rico, is that his name? Anthony Rico? My, that's all right. Removed himself from the case. Diddy's trial for sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution is scheduled to start May 12th. Now, that's some good news. That's some good news. And the reason I'm saying that's good is because Brian Steele helped Young Thug get off. Well, help Young Thug get probation. Okay. But nobody saw that coming. We didn't know that was gonna happen. So Brian Steele's a pretty good lawyer. So Diddy got him in his corner on his legal team. And I've heard that Diddy tried to get like a black woman or something like that on his legal team. We're gonna see what happens, man. We're gonna really see what happens. Now, I know Cassie's supposed to be testifying against him, but we'll just see what happens in this whole ordeal. But I mean, that's a plus on Diddy's end. Brian Steele don't be playing, with his clients. Now, I didn't know who he was before Young Thug, but that was a 2-year trial, and Thug is free now. You know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna see how long that lasts because his probation, and then even most recently, what's her name? Oh, the DA that's here. I can't think of the DA in Atlanta. Fonnie Willis. Fonnie Willis tried to get Young Thug caught up just recently, a couple of weeks ago, violating his probation. Brian Steele sent a letter to the judge and was just like, nah, this shouldn't happen. And I'm paraphrasing what he said. And that wasn't a violation of his probation. And guess what? Thug is still free. So we'll see how much of a difference Diddy's legal team, we're going to see how much of a difference that Brian Steele can bring to Diddy. And I don't think Brian Steele would pick this up if he didn't feel like justice will be served. So this is real interesting. We're going to see what happens. So shout out to Brian Steele. But anyway, not going to keep y'all on for long. Thank you, everybody who did join me on tonight's broadcast. We had a good time, good discussion. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, which is youtube.com/RedsView. I'm quite sure there'll be a lot of racists and white supremacists that are going to be commenting on this video because I've spent time talking about it and they are in shambles right now. Make sure you hit that like button for me right now. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the like button or the dislike button. It is all good. I'm about to get up out of here. Make sure that you follow me on all platforms. I had to start my TikTok over, unfortunately. 5,000 followers going down the drain, but I'm trying to build it back up. So follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at JAYR3D, and I will see you on the next episode of Reds View. Peace.